Okay, what I wanted to do now is I wanted to show you how to turn general form into standard form. Separate video, just because I don't want to make these videos too long. I want you to be able to kind of chunk them out. So let me kind of walk you through the process of that. So we're going to go ahead and share screen again. And here's what we have. This is our general form. And the way we want to think about it is we want to get it into standard form. So what is going to happen here is we are going to try and get it into the form of either x minus h squared over a squared plus y minus k squared over b squared equals 1, or x minus h squared over b squared plus y minus k squared over a squared equals 1. So the good thing on this one is we don't need to know upfront which one it is. It'll just turn into one of those forms. So now we'll know. So again, this is very similar to what we did with the circle. First thing we're going to do is we're going to get the constant over to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 144 from both sides. What happens now is I end up with 4x squared. And I'm going to group the x's together, minus 48x plus 9y squared plus 72y equals negative 144. Now here comes the deal. There's a little more work I got to do when I go to do this. I'm not going to try and complete the square right now because it's too big a number. So what I'm going to do is there's going to be a greatest common factor. And I'm going to tell you it's the easiest greatest common factor in the world. Whatever the number is in front of the squared term is your greatest common factor. So what happens is here, I can take 4 out. When I take 4 out, I get x squared. When I divide 48 by 4, I get negative 12x. Now I need to do the same thing. I'm going to tell you whatever number's in front of that y squared, I'm going to take out the 9. It's going to be y squared plus 8y equals negative 144. And now what we're going to do is we're going to complete the square inside. So again, let's walk through what we do. We take the number up front. We take half of negative 12. Half of negative 12 is negative 6. Then we're going to square that negative 6. And that is going to give us positive 36. So we are going to put positive 36 here. Now here comes the difference. Remember I said that if we add 36 to this side, we got to add 36 to this side. Almost. What we actually need to remember is there's still a 4 outside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add that 4 out front times 36. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump to the other one, do the same idea. I'm going to take half of positive 8. That's positive 4. I'm going to square it. So when I square positive 4, I get positive 16. So I'm going to put positive 16 here. But if I put it here inside the parentheses, I'm going to bring the 9 and times the 16 over here. It's going to be plus 9 times 16. Now, to complete the square, I'm going to bring down the 4 because that's out front. The way I complete the square is it's going to be x, whatever this guy is here. So this negative 6 comes down, x minus 6 squared, plus, bring down the 9, parentheses, bring down this. It's going to be y plus 4 squared. Equals, I'm going to type this whole thing into my calculator. And when I type that whole thing into my calculator, I'm going to get 144. So I have it almost there. Now, as you notice, it has to equal 1. The way I can do this, the way I can make this equal 1 is I'm going to divide this by 144. But again, in math, if I do it to one thing, I got to do it to everything. So I need to divide this by 144. I need to divide this by 144. And I am going to tell you that this fraction, 4 over 144, you can simplify. You're going to go ahead into your calculator and you are going to go and do 144 divided by 4. It's going to give you 36. So that tells you this first term is going to be x minus 6 squared over 36. You're going to go to your calculator. You're going to do 144 divided by 9. You're going to find out that that is 16. So this is going to become y plus 4 squared over 16. And that's going to equal 1. There's your standard form. And if you look at it, what we're going to say is, oh, the bigger one is under the x, the bigger the a is under the x. This tells me that this guy is going to be a ellipse that looks like that. It's going to be centered at, pull the 6 out, 6 comma negative 4. So I pull the 6 out, it's a positive 6. I pull the positive 4 out, it's a negative 4. I now know that my major axis is going to be the square root of this number, square root of 36. So it tells me in this case that a is going to be 6. My minor axis is going to be under here. So what I'm going to do is the square root of 16. That tells me that b is going to equal 4. So now I know my center. I know where this thing's centered. I know it's centered at 6 comma negative 4. And what I can do is I can figure out the information. So if I want to figure out this number here, what I'm going to go ahead and do is to figure out this vertex, this vertex over here. How do I get from 6 comma negative 4 on over? Well, if you think about it, the x is going to change, but the y is going to remain constant. So to figure out my vertices, what I'm going to do is take that center, 6 and comma negative 4. I'm going to add the 6. So that tells me one of the vertices is 12 comma negative 4. I'm going to do that 6 minus my 6 comma negative 4. It's going to tell me my other vertex is 0 comma negative 4. If I wanted to figure out these guys up here, the co-vertices, I could do that as well. I would just add the b. So if I want to do my co-vertices, again, I'm not going to ask you this, but this is how we do it. We do 6 comma negative 4 plus 4. That gives me 6 comma 0 as one of the co-vertices. 6 comma negative 4 minus 4, because I'm pulling that b right there. That's going to give me 6 comma negative 8. That's going to tell me my other co-vertice. And if I want to, I can even find out the foci. So if I wanted to find out the foci, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to figure out what does that focus length equal. So in this case, c squared equals a squared minus b squared. So c squared is going to equal a squared, which is that 36, minus b squared, which is 4, which is 16. That tells me c squared is going to be 20. And that tells me that c, if I square root both sides, c is going to equal the square root of 20. And to figure out the foci, what I do is I do this. Foci are going to be where I'm adding to the x. So what I'm going to do on this one is I'm going to do 6 plus root 20 comma negative 4. We're not going to add those together because that's what they are. It's 6 plus root 20, and the other foci is 6 minus root 20. So what I can now figure out is I've now figured out all the pieces of this ellipse. I would be able to label all these points, this point, this point. And the moment I label those points, I can go ahead and draw my ellipse. So that's what we're going to do with the general form. General form to standard form. So again, today is all about practice. You're going to do the evens, and I want you to just see if you can figure this stuff out just through a little bit of practice.
I'm not sure I understand.